Hey guys, and welcome to week 7. So we start off the week on the Monday. I had worked with Precious on the Saturday and Sunday just before this Monday, so we are moving along in the weeks. Over the weekend, I worked on getting up on top of Precious and seeing if she was okay with me up there, and she was. I got to the stage where I could sit on her back and ask her to yield her hindquarters, so that's what I'm just doing right now. I'm just making sure she's okay with me being up there, with me moving around, making sure that I'm not quiet with my body. I want her to know that I'm up there. I don't want to be hiding that I'm up there. You can see I get a little bit nervous when I brought my whip up over top of her, which is fine. I just don't want her to really freak out. So we start off with something that she knows. I just ask her to move her hindquarter over, which she does really well. And then I ask the other direction. She does that really well. And then eventually, she kind of moved towards my whip then, which I didn't want her to do, but she still doesn't know 100%. And then once I get her good at doing that, I ask for the forward movement. So she knows on the ground that when I touch the top of her bottom, that means go forward, or when I click, that means go forward. So we've just kind of got to transfer that onto the riding side of things. So I'm kind of just clicking up here now and asking to see if she'll go forward. I'm just using a little bit of pressure on her head to see if I can get her to move away from the mounting block, because she really wants to hang around the mounting block. That's kind of her safety net. And she's slowly starting to move away. Just keep things really simple, really easy, and reward whenever I can. So patting, making sure she's okay with me rubbing my legs all over her, and just making sure that I'm not staying quiet. You can see me here start to move on to using my whip just to help see if I can get that forward movement. She knows what the whip means on the ground, so it's just a matter of transferring it up onto when I'm on her back. Sometimes they can get a bit confused and they go, oh, I don't know what that is, but if you just stick with them, they do soon work it out, which she's starting to work it out. And there we go, we got a few forward steps. And then we reward with a pat and a break. She does really well. I really liked this walk forward. She walked forward really well, so we stopped and patted, and she's licking and chewing, so that means she's thinking about what she just did, and she's super calm. I can pat her all over, and I can move my legs around, which was really cool. So I was quite happy with that little effort from her. I really liked this little walk forward that she did. And she's starting to really understand the walk forward. She doesn't quite understand the whole turning thing, so I'm just really asking her to walk forward. I speed this up a little bit because it's just a lot of us going around in circles, but it's pretty much the same thing. So this, I think, is the next day. This is a Tuesday, so we'd just done what we did. And she didn't quite understand what my picking up the reins meant and asking to follow the reins of the halter. So a lot of people do long reining, and I do this. I find it a little easier for me, and I can be where I am when I'm on her back. Sometimes the long reins, they go down more towards the girth of the horse, whereas when I'm sitting on top of her, my hands are up around the withers. So I prefer this, and I can get her to turn and move forward. So I'm just kind of using my whip to ask her to go forward. Well, I use my voice first, and then if she doesn't go forward, I use my whip, which you just saw before. And I'm just seeing if I can get her to keep walking forward with me beside her body. And with the rein, I'm just kind of turning her a little. Just kind of exactly what I'd do if I was on her back. Here she gets a little confused, you can tell. So I just stay with it. And she quickly figures it out. There we go. She's funny. When she gets a bit nervous, she can get a little bit fast. So I just kind of stay with her, let her regroup, bring her back to a comfortable area. She does really well, so I speed it up because it's a lot of the same. Here she gets a bit, she wants to go back to the mounting block and she wants to stop. She thinks when we go past mounting block every time that she has to mount, like go up beside it, but she doesn't, so we just keep asking for forward. She does it well. She realises that we don't want her just to stand there, and she goes on with it. So she picked this up pretty quickly, and then after this I try it on her back. So this is the first time I'm going to get on her and then I'm going to ask for a direction. I'm not just going to suggest forward movement. I'm actually going to be a little bit more direct in where I want her to go. It's not just you can go where you want, it's more where I want to go now. So what we were doing just on the ground should transfer to on her back pretty easily. Now, I do leave in this bit of footage because I do want you guys to see that it's not always sunshines and rainbows. Sometimes we do have a few oopsies, and sometimes things do get a little bit much and they do just have to tell me. I would have preferred that she'd told me a little nicer, that she was quite uncomfortable, but as you'll see in just a moment, she does have a little bit of worry. So she gets the forward button really well, and then as I ask her to turn and I pick up my rein, she wants to go one way and I want it to go the other, so she just has a little moment, and that's pretty much all she does. So with that, I don't want her to know that that's the right answer, so I do a little bit of groundwork. I get her thinking, I get her moving her feet to know that it's not okay to rear, but nothing bad's going to happen. Here she's a little worried, and I just make sure that she's okay with me chucking my rope up over her. I don't make a big deal of it. I just go, hey, that kind of wasn't the right answer. Let's try again. And you can see this time she really thinks about it. She's a little touchy at the start, which is kind of expected. So I just go through it and make sure she's comfortable. And then I get on and I ask for it all over again. And here you can see that she is a lot more confident. She's had that time to process and to think and realise that I'm not going to kill her and that she's not going to die if I pick up a rein, and that the world will all be okay. And when she thinks about things and she goes through it again, she actually does it really well. Here she gets a little bit bracy, so I just stay with her and I ask, and she works it out super easily and calmly. And I was very, very proud of her try. So whenever she does something good, we stop and we pat and relax and give her a good rub, make sure she's happy with me being up there. I like that she's kind of lowering her head a little bit. I don't think you can tell on the video, but she is licking and chewing when we stop, which is a really awesome sign. Making sure that she turns well, that she's listening to the halter a bit better. And she does pretty well. I don't mind that she stops every now and then because that's kind of her way of telling me that she's a bit uncomfortable. So when she stops, I just pat her. Eventually I will ask her to keep walking for longer periods without stopping, and only stopping when I ask. But at this kind of stage, I really don't mind that she stops and says, hey, I'm a little bit nervous. I just need that time to process. And it gives me a bit of extra time to rub on her and move my legs around and get her comfortable. And she's licking and chewing, as you can tell. And I really like that. So we speed up the video a little bit because it's all of the same thing, just getting her to keep walking and going in different directions. So we're up to day 47, and this I think is the Friday because I had to work Wednesday and Thursday night, so I gave her the 2 days off, and we've moved on to the big arena, riding in the big arena. She's doing really, really well. We kind of missed the video of me warming her up, but I like this, that she kind of had her own tantrum kind of thing. She wanted to go in one direction, and I just stayed quiet, stayed with her, and kept asking for the direction I wanted her to go in, which was really nice. She's walking out a whole lot better. Her head is nice and leveled. She's quite calm. She's licking and chewing a lot, which is really nice to see. And she's just really improved since the last time I hopped on her, which was really nice to see and feel. So because she'd been doing so well at the walk, changing directions, I thought it was time for her to start trotting. Just like the walk, she has a bit of a moment, and I fall off. I thought I was going to land on my feet, but I didn't. And we missed it there, but I ended up just doing a bit more groundwork with her. So I got her trotting, got her changing direction, got her listening a bit better, and just kind of made her realise that life wasn't going to end and that she was okay. And then I hopped back on her again. I always hop back on straight away after they do something like that, because I don't want them to think of it as a reward. It isn't something that I will reward them for, and they will have to work a little harder. And it just helps them think about it a bit more. So after we did a bit more walk, we just come back around and I ask for another little trot. She does a few little steps there and gets a bit worried, so she stops, which is fine. I don't mind her telling me that she's nervous and stopping. That's a much better response than what she did previously. So I reward it. I let her stop. Eventually I will ask her to keep trotting, but at this kind of stage, when she gets a bit nervous, I'd much rather her tell me by stopping than going back into a freak out mode. I want her to feel confident that she can tell me that she's nervous, and I want to be able to reward her try for everything that she does, because this is a really new feeling for her. And I get a bit unbalanced when she stops quickly, so I'm moving around a bit more on her, and she's feeling new things. But I really like hear how she's looking and chewing and thinking about it, and she does really well. I was really, really proud of her. So I think I just did a little bit more with her. I just wanted to get a few more trots on her, and then we left her for that day. That was all I did. So here I ask her to trot again, and she does a really good little trot. It was super calm, and she just kept walking. So then I stopped her and rewarded with a pat and said that she was really good. And that's where we left her, because I was very proud of her. And I think I even gave her a bit of a treat for being super. I don't mind horses telling me that they get uncomfortable, but I want them to be able to tell me in a more calm manner, which she did. And then Saturday she had off because I went on a bit of an adventure, which will be in another video. So this is Sunday, and you can tell that she's thought about it, about what we did the day before, because when I first asked her to trot, she really has no problem with it at all. I always start my sessions out doing the same things that I do every other time, so I make sure I can get walk both directions before I even think about getting trot. If I can't get her walking and turning, then there's no point in me asking her to trot. That was her first trot for the day, and she did really well. She did a few little steps, and then she told me she was a bit nervous, which is fine. I let her stop and think about it. I like that she stopped and she didn't freak out. It gives her that time to process that nothing bad's going to happen. And I really, really like how she now starts to think about it and goes, maybe I can actually trot a bit further. So now I'm asking her to trot, and I'm not asking her to stop. But when she stops, I just want her to keep walking. I don't necessarily want her to stop all the way. So I just keep asking for the forward movement, making sure that I'm not pulling on her head and giving her mixed signals. When she tries, I reward. Getting her to go over obstacles like the trot poles is something that just changes up her brain a little bit, makes her think about it. And then when I ask her to trot this time, we get a bit more of a trot. And she keeps walking really well. So because I'd been letting her stop after a few steps, she now thinks that that's what she has to do. So I'm just kind of letting her know that I wanted to keep going. And here she does her first proper trot out, which was really awesome. She did that few little stops and I just kept asking with my voice for her to go forward, which she took on really well. And then I just am now asking her to trot out for a bit of a longer period of time, which she's getting really well. I like that the dogs are running around and she's not quite really worried about them. At the very start of her weeks with me, when a dog would kind of run in front of her, she would stop and look at it. So I'm liking now that there's a distraction there, but she's not really worrying too much about it. I've also started to introduce the backup, so here in a second I'll ask her to just move off the pressure of the halter, and she does it super softly and really awesomely. And then whatever you do one direction, you have always got to do it the other direction. So this is actually the first time that she trots going this direction. And I was super proud of how she handled it. She didn't freak out. She just kept going. And we got a really, really awesome trot. And I think I asked one more time around this corner, and she does such a super good trot that I end up leaving her there. So that's pretty much all we get done for week 7, which I'm really happy with. I did kind of want to take her out for a trail ride, but we didn't get a chance, so that'll be for this week's agenda, this next week's coming up. She does super well, and I'm super proud of her. She does a good backup. And then I gave her a big pat and release with me hopping off her. So I was super happy with her this week. She tried really well. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps me out. And thank you so much.